Hello my dear sewing friends, it's Alisa here, and in this quick and easy video I would love to share with you how I made these Christmas tree ornaments all from fabric scraps. Now first, for a little bit of inspiration, let me share with you the designs that I have already completed, and then at the end of the video I'll share with you a couple of extra designs that I'm still working on. Here we have a truck with a Christmas tree, which is probably one of my favorite designs out of all of the ones that I have made. And it's not too complex, it's not too simple, it's right there in the middle. After that, a little house with trees all covered in snow. Next, we have a little stocking, which, you know, is a Christmas classic. And after that, a little mitten, which is the design that we're going to be working on today together. Alright, now let's talk about the materials that you will need. And remember that you can always customize this to what you already have on hand. But first and foremost, of course, let's get started with the fabric. And to get that really nice rustic look for your ornaments, I would suggest going for linen because it has that nice texture to it. But of course, you can go for cotton as well. So grab your fabric scraps. Next, we will need to have some sort of stabilizer to make sure that ornaments can keep the shape. And I use either Deco Bond or Heat and Bond, and as you can see, this one is pretty thick. Next, I like to give my ornaments a little bit of thickness. To achieve that, I take cotton batting and I sandwich it between the fabric. Next, you will need to have some sort of adhesive. You can also make it work without it, but it just makes life a little bit easier. In my case, I use Wonder Under. It's double-sided interfacing, or you can also just use some fabric glue. Next two supplies are quite optional. We have ribbon, and then we also have eyelets for the top of the ornament. Alright, with all of our materials gathered, let's get to the creative part. For each ornament, we will need to cut multiple circles. The first two are going to be from the base fabric, the one that you will see in the front and in the back of the ornament. And I chose to go with this really nice beige linen. It's a great background color. Then we will need to cut one circle from cotton batting in order to add a little bit of thickness to the ornament. And to stabilize the linen or any other fabric that you're going to be using, we will need to cut two circles from the interfacing. Each circle is about 4 inches and a quarter in diameter, or approximately 10.5 centimeters. First, we're going to fuse the base fabric to the interfacing, and we're going to do that with both pattern pieces. If some of the edges are slightly uneven, don't worry about it too much. The linen does tend to move around quite a bit, but we will also get a chance to tidy this up at the very last step. Now, the design options for this project are basically limitless. You know, they can all come from here, right? Or you can get a little bit inspired by what you see on the World Wide Web. Obviously, in this case, for example, the truck, we've all seen it around, right? And you can make it as intricate or as simple as you want. It's definitely all up to you. I like to start with the overall shape and size of the ornament and then lightly sketch out the design idea that I have. This time I think we're gonna go for a cute little mitten. Once the design is done, let's cut it out. I want the main part of the mitten to be in this burgundy color, but this part to be in white, so I have to separate them. Now because I'm using Wonder Under, I have to cut out a piece of it so that way I can fuse it to this linen. As you can see, the Wonder Under has the paper backing. Once you unpeel it, you can then once again fuse this piece to another piece of fabric. It is also great when you need to trace details, so I'm going to place my little design face down and trace it. Next, I will do all the same steps for the other parts. If you're working on more complex designs, like for example this one, then you'll need to keep in mind the sequence of attaching these objects. So for example, the house goes on first, then the windows, then the snow, and only after that you'll attach the snow on the bottom. This time my design is rather simple, so I'm going to start by attaching the mitten itself. And make sure that you leave on top a little bit of room so that way you can attach the eyelet. After that goes the bottom part of the mitten, and then of course the heart. Next, grab the circle that we cut from the cotton batting, place them together like so, and let's head to the sewing machine. To attach this small part of the design, what I prefer to do is to remove the presser foot and then also to lower the feed dogs, and that will allow us to do a free motion sewing. But if you don't feel comfortable with that, that's totally fine. You can just sew as is, as you would usually do. To do it the way that I do it, go ahead and place your ornament underneath and decide where are you going to start. I will flip it over and I will start right over here. Now make sure that you have lowered the presser foot. I know that we don't actually have the presser foot on it, but lower the entire piece. Then lower the needle and bring it back up. Take this part of the thread and pull it. Pull it until you see the other thread come up. Now hold them together with your fingers and we're going to start stitching. Do a couple of stitches remaining in the same spot so that way we can secure the threads. Now slow and steady, let's stitch all the way around. Now because I did lower the feed dogs, now I have the job of pushing the fabric, or in this case an ornament, through the sewing machine. And the pace and the speed at which I do that will determine how even or uneven going to be the stitches. And quite frankly, sometimes I think it adds a little bit of charm to it, like in this case. Here we can either finish up and do the other pieces separately, or we can continue. Next, let's snip off all of the threads. Grab the other side of the base fabric that was fused with the interfacing, place it wrong sides together, like so, and sometimes it does help if you clip these together. I don't think you will be able to pin these together because the layers are quite thick, but clipping together like this sometimes is very useful. Now let's head back to the sewing machine. This time bring the feed dogs up and install the sewing foot back onto your sewing machine. Go ahead and increase the stitch length because we're going to be sewing through so many layers. And I personally like to move the needle as well a little bit closer to the right edge of the presser foot. Now, placing the ornament underneath, let's align the edge of the presser foot with the edge of the ornament. I'll take out this clip, and the goal is to continue stitching while aligning the edge of the presser foot with the edge of the ornament. That is going to ensure a really nice and smooth curve all around the circle. Sewing wise, we are done, so you can put away your sewing machine. And now let's trim this quite close to the stitching line. When it's time to do the eyelet, I simply use an ornament that I already made. I place it on top and then I mark the placement of the eyelet with one of the marking tools. After that, I need to cut out a little hole, and the size of it is going to depend on how large is your eyelet. Usually eyelets come with the instructions that will guide you step by step on how to hammer those in. Once done, you can then use a ribbon to tie a little bow and make a loop for hanging on the tree. At this point, your ornament is ready, but I like to add one last special touch. For that, I use acrylic paint and the opposite end of the paintbrush, and then I simply add a little bit of polka dots, or you can also call it snow. I truly think that it does add a little special touch, and there you have it, your ornament is ready. Now let me share with you some other designs that I've been working on. Well, there you have it, my dear sewing friends, and I truly hope that you will make a handmade ornament for your Christmas tree as well. And if you're looking for more ideas for your fabric scraps, then definitely check out this video. I thank you so much. Happy holiday season, and until next time, happy, thoughtful sewing. I'll see you soon. Bye!